Well, my intentions are to talk about my programs, the things that I would like to try to do in conjunction with my fellow Americans to get America back on the right track. I'm not particularly interested in any person particularly attacking them. I think we have much better things to do than that.
So, the debate. I hear they're all going after me. Whatever.
Donald Trump at a big rally in Dallas. Ben Carson on CNN as CNN gets ready for its big debate tomorrow night. New polls come out almost every day. Now the newest CBS New York Times poll, and some big moves in this poll that kind of track where other polls have had these numbers. These are 4 of the top. And take a look at the trajectory here. For now, Donald Trump inching up, but Ben Carson from 6% to 23%. Jeb Bush falling, Scott Walker falling even more. We're back with the panel. Mara.
Well, this is pretty interesting. It looks a little bit like the last time when we saw all these different outsiders have their moment in the sun. Maybe Ben Carson is going to surpass Donald Trump. I think that would be a very big deal. If Donald Trump is no longer the king of the hill, seemingly undentable by any attacks or any mistakes or outrageous things that he says.
So wait a second, you're saying the first, second place finish in a poll, it changes the dynamic?
Well, if he keeps on going and surpasses Trump, it will be a big deal. He surged really fast from that first poll to the second, from 6 to 23. And what's going to happen tomorrow night makes a big difference. Do people see Carson as the outsider, but somebody who's a little more calm, thoughtful than Trump, or not? We don't know. But the other things that are happening that are also new are groups and candidates are starting to spend a lot of money attacking him. In the past, hasn't made a difference, but we haven't ever seen millions and millions and millions of dollars directed against him.
Club for Growth has an ad that's airing. Jeb Bush has more attack ads coming. Does that make a difference, or is this candidate different than we've seen before?
Well, there's no question this candidate is different than we've seen before. But I do think those ads make a difference. Not necessarily a $1 million ad buy from the Club for Growth, but because of what it portends. This is the beginning of a campaign. And I don't think it's a coordinated campaign. It's not any anti-Donald Trump conspiracy. But you are going to see both outside groups, super PACs, and eventually candidates themselves take aim at Donald Trump, particularly in the early states, including people who have been friendly to Donald Trump thus far. I mean, if Donald Trump is still at 30% in the polls in Iowa in November and December, I'm fairly certain that Ted Cruz, who's been pretty generous to Donald Trump, is going to be reminding people in a pretty forceful way of what Donald Trump used to say and used to believe. So these ads are important in that they will remind voters about Donald Trump and his old views. And one final note, the Club for Growth is not an establishment group. The Club for Growth was founded to take on the Republican establishment. So you're seeing this come from people who are also unhappy about the status quo in Washington, who want it changed and changed in a dramatic way, but are not on the Trump bandwagon.
Well, especially not on taxes, and that's the difference. And here is the pushback for Donald Trump, of course, on Twitter. He says, little respected Club for Growth asked me for $1 million. I said no. Now they are spending lobbyist and special interest money on ads. Charles, when you look at that arena in Dallas and you see that performance, it is quite something to watch.
I think the real key here is Carson. I understand there's a lot of ads being run against him, but he seems immune to ideological attacks, at least up to now, that he isn't a true conservative. People really don't care that much. He sounds like a leader. He sounds tough. He rallies the troops. He refers to himself all the time, and he's extremely entertaining. I think the weakness here is if Carson surpasses him, Trump won't like that. Trump divides the world into winners and losers. He's the winner. And up until now, he's winning every poll. If he begins to fall behind to Carson, and you can see how irritated he is, because he's attacking the coverage of Carson's rise. And he said last night in Houston, what about me? Everybody's covering the surge of Carson. How about the surge of Trump? How come where is my name?
Trump hasn't had coverage thus far.
Every cable network live.
Hey, I'm just quoting the guy. I'm not justifying him. But I think if Carson pulls ahead, even if it's a point or two, that's going to be hard on Trump. And that's where I think he goes after a guy who is so likable that going after him, calling him a so-so doctor. This is the guy who performed the first successful separation of Siamese twins conjoined at the head in history. Maybe an okay doctor. I think that could be something that could hurt him.
But isn't this debate tomorrow night really a big thing for Ben Carson? Because I'm not sure anybody has explained to me where all of the support for Ben Carson is coming from, on what front. Obviously, he's very impressive and he's improved on the trail, but tomorrow night's a big deal.
Well, you know, the support that he's been getting has not been coming from Donald Trump, which is interesting. It's not like people said, oh, we want an outsider who's less bellicose. No, it's been coming from the other candidates. So yes, he's very soft-spoken on the stump and in debates. The spotlight's going to be on him tomorrow, and they're going to push him to attack Trump, and that's going to be one of the most interesting things.
That is it for the panel, but stay tuned to see how a president known for his way with words sometimes is at a total loss for them.